dealing with different things like personal trauma, generational trauma, my ADHD, addiction. I was going through bottles, I was hiding them. It's like, well, I'm fine. I don't have a problem. So it nearly killed me.
Hidden Bottles Open Gym, a Latino entrepreneur's evolution through alcoholism, ADHD, and self-acceptance.
For me, what really was important was to create a space where I could really bring people together. If that just did not exist, then I would create it.
In 2015, Sergio Luna, at just 23 years old, opened Surge to New Levels in Chicago's western suburbs.
I think what makes me the most proud is just anybody can walk in here and really genuinely feel like it's a welcoming space. I had such a strong vision. So the path was always very clear, but I think clarity doesn't necessarily mean it was without challenge. Growing up, there's the challenge of just being Mexican American. I'm really not quite, as Mexican, right, as I should be, but I'm also not quite American. I straddle a line with two different identities, and being able to kind of come into my own was a lot of difficulty for a while. Just kind of personal hardships, with family and addiction. But I think through it all, there was always passion and love in what I did. So I think that always carried me through.
Surge expanded as part of a Latino entrepreneurship movement that continued to grow nationally by 89% between 2017 and 2022.
The younger version of me was creative, passionate about learning. I wanted to know everything about everything. I almost at one point in grade school, started a comic, put together a team, and then I was gonna try to ask the principal to see if we could sell those comic books at school, And so entrepreneurship has also been a really defining thing, I think, in my life. Mm-hmm. I was born and raised in Montebello, California, which is a county of East LA. I mean, that's all I knew. My mom felt like at the time it was the best decision to take us from just not the greatest situation. So that meant bringing us all the way over to Chicago, where she had a brother. That was a big change for me. That was a really big change for me. Being in boxing, you can't be thinking about anything else. To have to regulate your breathing, they're hitting you in the face. There's just such a presence that comes with that. That brought me so much excitement and so much presence, and gave me something to look forward to. And it's such a nice feeling because my brain stopped going at a million miles per hour, which is normally what it does. I just remember being wow, this is awesome. I ended up being a runner-up in the Golden Gloves back in 2007 in the flyweight division. After that, basically kind of, like I said, falling back into, okay, but I want friends. I think it was Mexican Independence Day weekend, and I went over to a friend's house, and there was a party next door. I remember being really excited because I was making friends and really fitting in, especially because earlier that year I had gotten run over by a car going 45 on Bloomingdale. Okay, you just went to this new school. You're the kid that got hit with the car, making new friends. And then these high schoolers were really inviting. I was like, cool. I think all the bottles were gone. And it's at that point that I was pour them all into a cup and just drink. Just remember, feeling serenity, but everything afterwards was the opposite. My dad calling, where are you? And being furious because my uncle, who I'm named after, he passed away from drinking in his mid-20s. Wow, this is what I thought was serenity, what I thought was peace. I was always high achieving. I could get blacked out drunk on the weekend and still have straight A's. So on paper, like I said, it's like, well, I'm fine. I don't have a problem.
While the business thrived, Sergio's ADHD remained undiagnosed, making him think he was struggling with anxiety and depression instead. Sergio unknowingly became part of a large group of undiagnosed Hispanics with ADHD, due in part to cultural norms and expectations.
Another thing too that I think really, that I know just genuinely saved my life was also like meeting my wife, Yeah, she really pushed me. So yeah. Yeah. I think she just believed in me and loved me in a way that like I didn't love myself. And she just supported me like no one I've ever had in my life. She just like was always there for me. Like from day one, she believed in the dream and she stuck with me. We went through a lot together and she just really changed my life. When it comes to addiction though, unfortunately, it's not always a case about willpower or being loved. Mind you, like I have all these successful things, right? I have a successful business, I have a wife, I have a daughter, all these things. I have high self-esteem, I'm confident, like I'm accomplished, like on paper, it all checks out. But I think there was a underlying self-hatred that I didn't know existed. If I really truly love myself, then I wouldn't treat myself the way that I did. Because of my ADHD being undiagnosed for so long, I developed really poor habits. Work. I'll rest when I'm dead. And I confused it for anxiety and depression when it really was ADHD. Got to the point where I was like, she was like, okay, fine, I'm cool with beer. I go get beer and then I'd buy like a few shooters, take the shooters before I walked in the door. So I'd be like, oh, look, it's just my first beer, like I was going through bottles, I was hiding them. Towards the end, it was like, I could finish half a bottle in a sitting. There's this giant bottle of Belvedere that we bought for a Christmas party. Pouring that out night over night and then realizing I just went through this gigantic bottle of Belvedere. Something is going on.
As his success grew, so did Sergio's dependence on alcohol. One morning, after another night of excessive drinking, he sought out help for his addiction, challenging the lower rates of alcohol treatment by Latinos compared to non-Latinos.
I remember literally just going on the internet and searching and just being like, I'm sure there's nothing going on a Monday morning at like, I literally like, it was like 6 a.m. I didn't know that AA meetings happen like around the clock all the time. Something came to me that was like, look it up. It happened to be 10 minutes down from my place. Like the sun was rising. It was just like a golden sun. Like it just felt so, in the middle of it, there was a peace. And I got there and that's kind of where I really started turning things around and just listening to other people who share the same struggle and realizing that I wasn't alone. I was just trying to survive. Once I stopped the boxing, I found lifting, and that kind of like kept me grounded for a bit. But then like alcohol was always there somewhere at some point. This month I celebrate 1 year of sobriety after 20 years. I think the thing that I'm most proud of in my life is just maybe I'm most impressed by being able to like love myself. Like I didn't think that was possible and I didn't even think that was a thing or something that I needed to do. Be like, hey, like everything doesn't need to get done now. Hey, give yourself a break. Like treating myself like I would a best friend. When I'm speaking to myself, speaking about myself, I think that's what I'm most proud of because it's allowed me to be a better husband, a better father. So many positive things that have come about from me just being able to just finally being able to love myself.